Today we'll be whittling this cute Tasmanian Devil sculpture from basswood, and we'll be using lots of techniques to create our little friend. Whittling is a great hobby as it's such a fun and relaxing way to pass the time, so let's get into it. For the whittling part of this project, we'll be using a block of basswood, and this measures 150 by 50 by 50 centimetres, a 12-piece Mont carving set, a hobby knife, a HB pencil, an F-clamp, a coping saw and a soft sanding block. This lesson is fairly simple, and if you haven't whittled before, it's a good one to get you started. Saying this, however, if you don't have much experience, so that you don't cut yourself, we have put in this optional segment on how to create a thumb guard. Basically wrap some plaster bandage over your thumb like this. Then wrap a dampened 30cm long by 5cm strip around your thumb, smooth it off with some water and let it dry. With whittling, there is 4 cuts that you will find you'll use. They are the paring cut, where you basically pull the blade down. Of course, it's best to have a thumb protector for this, and when the cut is made up away from you. This is sometimes also called a sweep cut. The V-cut is where 2 45-degree cuts are made into the timber so that the end of the cuts meet in the middle. This removes a V-shaped piece of wood. The stop cut, where a horizontal flat cut is made first, then a sweep cut is made up to that first flat cut. The 4th cut is the pyramid cut. This is made by creating 3 angled cuts that meet at the same point, causing a pyramid shape to be removed. So let's get started. First, we'll need to mark up our block of timber. To help with this, we have supplied this outline with a front and side view of our little friend. There is also a 3-view image, and both can be found on our website. Begin by cutting the sheet to size. Shade the backside, tape it into position and retrace it with a pencil. After the outline is drawn up, secure the block to a table using an F-clamp and use that coping saw to profile cut the outside shape. Ensure that the saw is vertical as you cut the shape. Now we have our rough shape in regards to the side profile. Next, draw up the front profile and where the back legs will finish in pencil. Turn it upside down and draw in where the feet will lie. Now we can start the whittling. In simple terms, we need to remove the corners or to round off the piece. This can be done a couple of ways. The first, use a 7.2mm angle chisel and whittle away the general shape. This is the slow process of wood removal, and it's quite relaxing. Some would say the reason why people whittle. The magic part is when a humble piece of timber magically metamorphosizes into something new and exciting. If, however, you are in a hurry to get to the good part, you can use that trusty coping saw to remove the waste timber from the side also. Now we have our sculpture roughed in on both elevations, we just keep whittling away to get closer to the shape we have in our mind. Regarding the carving set, there are 12 tools and each one does a different job. The gouge here removes a lot of wood quite quickly. Obviously it creates a concave groove, but these marks can be levelled out in the refinement stage. We use the stop cut to cut in the back legs. The tail is the most fragile part of the sculpture, so we just rough in the general shape for now and leave it until a later stage to save accidentally breaking it. Now the general shape is roughed in, we can switch to the hobby knife. This may sound obvious, but you need to exercise extreme caution with this tool and remember the golden rule to always cut away from your person. If you are inexperienced, wear that thumb guard or use the 8.8mm flat chisel in the carving set. At this stage of the work, we conscientiously work over the whole piece, gently paring the wood away until the piece looks right, constantly referring to our 3 view to get the shape correct. For the gap in the legs, we use that coping saw again. Basswood is amazing stuff. It's incredibly strong, although still easy to saw and carve. Once the wedges from between the front and rear legs have been removed, we can continue to refine the underside. At this stage, the legs are squarish. We can use sweeping and paring cuts to round the edges off. As I said, this is basswood, but cedar and pine wood are good for whittling too. Basswood is unique, however, as the grain is so close together and it's very dense. It's a hard wood, but it is very light. Our friend is really starting to take shape now, and I start to be more judicious regarding the amount of wood I am removing, and I'm really just smoothing off the surface. I start to refine the tail now and the underside of the head. If you want to try this project, you might like to print out some images of Tassie Devils to help you get the general shape just right. Things to bear in mind are the broad triangular shape of the head and the convex round shape of the nose, as well as the short back legs and the short tail. It is very thick at the base, but it tapers over its short length to quite acute. We have a good general shape to our friend now, and it's all smoothed off. The next step is to detail the facial features. We draw these in with a pencil. Draw in the oval shape for the nose, and under the nose we can draw in the mouth, and then the eyes. Once the features are drawn in, we can use a gouge chisel to cut the line work out on those eyes and that cute big nose. We can use the hobby knife to cut the mouth. The cuts can then be widened slightly with the fine 3.3mm point chisel. This is done by creating a very fine V cut. Once the facial features are carved in, we can use the soft sanding block to smooth everything off, give it a final refine, and that's the carving stage finished. If you'd like to take it a bit further, you can paint your Tassie Devil. If you do, you'll need some brilliant red, black, and titanium white, all in acrylic colour, a round plastic palette, a small angle brush, and a small liner brush, and some water. The first step is to squeeze out a small amount of each colour into the palette and add some water to the paint. The water will thin the paint down so it goes onto the surface more like a stain. The first step is to paint our little friend's muzzle, around the mouth, the ears, eyes, and the feet. Test the mix on a scrap piece of wood first so that the ratio of paint to water is correct. We want it thin enough so that the wood grain can still be appreciated. Next, paint some titanium white around the eyes, a band across his chest, and a band across the back above the base of the tail. You can then paint the rest of the sculpture in with black. Paint up to the white and then bring the black into the white with little strokes so the edge is soft. So that the feet look a little pink, dry brush black over the feet, so some of the underlying colour shows through. And voila! Well, that was really fun. We hope you enjoyed the project, because I did. While you're here, take a look around the Create section on our website and uncover a whole heap of free stuff, from free projects, handy tips and tricks and techniques to keep you busy. Otherwise, have fun creating and we'll see you on the next one.